And I die, hallelujah, by and by.
I'll go live. We're live. We are live
From
Pep
LA.
Talk, episode 5.
PA, never mind.
It is July 3rd, 2021, 4th of July weekend. I don't expect much people to get on here. Dan's the only one on here right now. I know I'm monetized, so. We may need to adjust the camera just a little bit. I got it. It needs to go a little your way.
Your camera makes me look so fat.
It's not the camera. Just
go.
Now back up the camera just a touch. Back it up just a touch. And then I think we'll be good. Now a little bit more. Now come sit down, see if we got it good. We should be pretty close.
I think we're close. Good enough.
Yeah, we still got like wasted space behind you. And it's like cutting off the back of Seth's head.
Yeah,
I don't care. I can cut some of me off.
Just scoot your chair in, Buttercup.
See our very professional starts to our live recordings all the time.
Hello,
that is actually,
fellow viewers.
That is actually perfect, Seth. So we're going to give her a few minutes, as we always do, for people to join on. Although we're losing viewers because we're just not really doing anything right now.
Oh, we're back.
We're back.
We're live. Hello to fellow viewers.
Where? Where does it say that?
Right there.
So before we get into the main topic here, guys.
The first one.
You're the first one. We got 2 more on here as well. There's Milton. Back your camera up. Are we still a little bit too close, Milton? We can push her back a little bit. We are zoomed in pretty good. Of course, he might be delayed, though, too.
He's delayed.
He'd be delayed. He'd be catching it after what we've already recorded. So I do back it up here. It could be.
I'm going to do a little bit more.
Yeah, we're still half cutting you off, Seth.
Not that I care.
That is probably good.
Whoa. Look at that.
All right. Now, don't slide your chair out there half a mile. You'll be cut off again.
How's that?
Yeah, that's just, I'm looking at you quite weirdly.
I'm sure the viewers are too. They're probably like, catch up, you two. Let's get them off.
All right, enough of this live broadcast. We're out here. We are going to talk power sports here in a minute, guys and gals. If you're joining us, this is Pep Talk Live, episode 5, I believe. We are a little behind on this one, but it's nice weather. We've been busy. We've been riding. We were going to do this last week, but Dan and I had quite the adventure in the RMAX, and we didn't get back till late. There will be a fun video of that coming up. I did tease some footage from that ride, so some of you may have already seen the RMAX in a little bit of a predicament. So that video I am editing now, but that pushed the podcast back to this week. So we're here. We are live. We are recording. You guys, before we get into the main topic for this evening, we have any exciting news we'd like to share?
What? Oh, you asking us?
Yeah, I'm asking you guys. This is an open forum time here. We can talk about whatever till we get into the main topic. Nothing? How's work going, Dan?
It's great. I mean, business is booming.
Have we finally found you your perfect dream job?
I wouldn't say it's a dream job.
But it's a good fit.
But it's awesome.
Those that don't know, Dan is one of the parts guys at our local Powersports dealerships.
I should wear their shirt.
You should wear their shirt.
But maybe I can bribe them into something.
But it's Cars Equipment in Clearfield, who you work for. You're one of the parts guys there. So.
Yep. Come on down and see me. Well, we're called. One of the two.
Polaris, Kawasaki.
Articat.
Is the news of the acquisition, is it public knowledge now?
I would say it is. He's telling people.
Okay, so Carnes Equipment bought Mountain Extreme, which was a Can-Am dealer that was local, so you're now doing Can-Am as well. So you're a multi-purpose dealer. You got to get that Yamaha and Honda in there.
Working on it.
Okay, well, hey.
Someone tells me it's something that probably won't happen.
Well, hey, it's a possibility. But Seth, anything exciting for you? Were working on your dirt bike. You had mentioned
Monday.
Fork
show's getting redone, so the jumps will be coming.
Oh boy!
Yes.
You're gonna get some awesome footage.
Yeah. For sure.
I still have yet to jump the Articat. Seriously, I've done a little jump. We have yet to.
All right, we're going back tonight after we're done. We're jumping.
Oh, we could. Well, I haven't replaced the tie. I do have a.
But do you have the tie rod?
I do have the tie rod.
So we can jump it. We're good then.
But I have a slightly bent tie rod now because that's a funny story. I think I'm going to go ahead and share this while we wait here, and then we will get into the main topic. But So the Wildcat Trail has a slightly bent A-arm, not due to anything I did. So we went out for a ride the other day. The family from Chicago was in. Talisa was driving the Wildcat. We get back. We had a nice little ride. We get back. We park it. We go out. And where we park it, okay, for you guys that are here live on video, you can see my motions. If you're in the podcast, I'll try to explain this as best as I can if you're only listening to the audio version later on. We have a hill that is above our carport where we park the machines. And it's a pretty steep little bank, then levels off where the driveway is, and then goes downhill to our in-laws' place. We park it up on the top. Well, Wildcat Trail has the park and brake thingy because everyone says don't use the park. This pin will shear off and it'll go careening down hills and ruin your transmission and stuff. Well, either my wife did not get that park and brake on, or it just didn't set or the pressure let off. So it's sitting there. I'm up here in the studio working, and my wife calls me up on the intercom and says, hey, Jason, can you come outside? And I said, well, I'm editing right now. I was eating dinner at the same time. I said, I'll be down in a bit. And she's like, no, you need to come outside now. So I come outside, and here sits the Arctic up against one of our deck posts, which has promptly pushed over. And yeah, that's how the tie rod got bent. Apparently, that park and brake came off. It went coasting down the hill, slammed into our porch post hard enough. It knocked the porch post over. But to the Wildcat Trail's credit, all it did was slightly bent the tie rod. I didn't even know it was bent until I went to align it because, of course, it was knocked out of alignment. And I was just a little bit of wobble in the threads there. So that's how the tie rod got bent. I think the saving grace was the tire hit the post first, and it kind of bounced off. And so I think that saved me from ripping anything too badly. So close call there with the Wildcat Trail. Could have been worse. Tie rod, simple fix. I already have it. Just need to put it in. So, and the whole time, all I could think of was what was damaged. I did not think to snap any pictures or anything of it. So what kind of YouTuber am I that I don't have a camera or phone with me at all times to take pictures and video?
I think your wife would appreciate it if you didn't know that one.
Well, I just told the story so everyone knows it anyway.
Yeah, but you don't have pictures, so she's in the clear now.
Nah, she is, because I could just be making a story up. I could have just completely not been paying attention while I drove and ran into something, and just no one would know the wiser.
That's normal.
That's normal. But so anyway, that's how the tie rod got bent. And why we can't jump it quite yet? Well, like you said, we have it. We could, because if it bends more, it's not going to matter as long as it didn't hurt anything else. But
Correct.
so.
It doesn't get dark until real late now. So
No, it's the 4th of July. Milton Thacker says, do y'all have a 4th of July special planned? Not really. Our main topic for tonight is going to be, we're going to deal with something I know everyone is sick and tired of, but it's something we got to address here with the power sports industry too. We're going to talk a little bit about the impact COVID-19 has had on the power sports industry. But we're doing so now because now we see the light at the end of the tunnel. We live in PA. Restrictions are finally being lifted. We no longer have to wear masks. So we're at the end of, at least for this season, who knows what's going to happen in the future. But we can't deny that it has had an impact on the power sports industry.
Yes, it has.
So,
very much so.
So Seth's like, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about here.
Nope.
You can just give us remarks as we go. How's that?
Sounds good to me.
Well, I mean, he does receive and ship packages, so he would know.
You do, because
and you did that before
Random
COVID.
fact. Guess what the number one tires that we get for side-by-sides through UPS?
Carnivore.
Correct.
Oh,
That's like all we get. All we get is Carnivore.
Yeah, I love the Carnivore tires. They're a good all-terrain tire. Everyone says they wear pretty quick, though. I haven't had enough miles on mine as they are no longer on a machine at the moment to tell that, but that's probably why they're popular, because they are good tires. They get good traction in pretty much everything. They ride nice. They're super lightweight. But if they wear quick, then that explains why people are buying them all the time. But I like them. They're one of my favorite tires now, it and the Blackwaters. So
there's a new one, a System 3 tire that's a lot like the Carnivore.
I've seen those. Yeah.
Very hard to get because they sell so fast, kind of like the Carnivores. But they are really good. Everyone that has them said they're 3 times better than a Carnivore, and they wear less than a Carnivore.
So that's probably a good thing. So maybe we'll have to try that on when the R-Max is ready for some new tires.
They're System 3 wheels or tires.
If I keep getting in stuff like I got in last weekend, then I'll probably go through them pretty quick.
Oh yeah, and they say they're good for hard pack too.
Yeah.
So
anyway, guys, our main topic again, the impact of COVID on the power sports industry. You guys that are joining us live here on the YouTube can feel free to comment your observations as far as how COVID has impacted. I want to start off on a bright note, though. We all know with COVID, all you hear about is the negative impacts on this, that, and the other thing. It has shut down businesses, caused businesses to go out of business. But one positive thing that came out of COVID and quarantine is people bought up ATVs and side-by-sides like crazy. There was an absolute tremendous boom in side-by-side sales once quarantine hit. So at least there is that. I mean,
oh yeah.
People need something to do.
I don't necessarily know the sale on buggies and how they sell them, but I know on parts I sold a ton of parts, and now towards the end of COVID and everything's opening back up, we're selling less and less. But when I first started there 3-4 months ago, it was just slammed. Every day someone was buying thousands of dollars in parts. I mean, it was just crazy.
Like Milton commented here, we were in quarantine, so we weren't allowed to go anywhere indoors public. And the government was handing out stimulus checks. Businesses were given, like he said, bonuses for unemployment. So people were getting lots of money. They couldn't do anything. So what better thing to do than to go out and get a side-by-side? That allowed them to go out to the one place they were allowed to go, the great outdoors, and enjoy it. So there was that. I guess that was a positive thing. However, it was short-lived, and now we kind of see the impacts of that because it is hard-pressed to find a dealer with any inventory right now. Machines are sold out, and that's not just because of people buying them. Dan can shed a little light on this subject, but Dan, how hard is it to get parts yet for machines?
Oh, there's Polaris parts that are back ordered until 3 months from now. Still 3 to 4 months yet. There's parts that they completely quit making. This is most brands. There's parts that they completely quit making until they can get everything caught up, and then they're going to start making them again. So they're canceling certain parts so they can make the primary part that everyone keeps buying, and they're going to slowly start opening them back up, and it's just it's a headache.
It's a mess. COVID's messed everything up. But
another random fact: UPS, #1 brand of parts for side-by-sides we get, Polaris. We get a ton of Polaris parts.
Not surprised. Not surprised at all. Polaris.
I figured Jason was
sorry.
that.
Hey,
I know you wouldn't get any Super ATV because they go through FedEx.
ooh.
No, we get them, I think.
Do you?
I think
It probably all depends on who the retailer is.
Tough break.
And guys, I know I'm hard on Polaris, but I have not shared this yet. I'm not going to tell you what model, but I did buy a Polaris.
What?
It's sitting in the garage,
No
getting worked on right
way.
now. I bought a Polaris. I have to work on it.
And you were harassing me.
I know, but I did buy a Polaris. There will be more info on that coming up soon.
Jason is a traitor.
Well, hey, being in the industry now, my YouTube channel having the traction, I'm trying to keep an open mind and give an honest opinion of all the machines out there.
Ooh.
So,
If that's the case, you know what's next.
dirt bike.
Dirt
I
bike.
knew that was coming.
Yes, it is.
I knew. I've been keeping an eye on Facebook Marketplace for something like a little small 250 or something. But we'll
There
see.
you go.
Once the Articat's paid off. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I've been working on that Honda Trail 90. Finally got it running. If you guys have seen the first video, I know I've only got one video up of that right now. But I have, Melton says, no, I take it that's probably because I said I bought a Polaris. Don't worry. All will be okay once the machine is revealed, and you'll see what I mean here. What was I talking about? Oh, that little Honda Trail 90 I've been working on for Greg. I finally got it in running condition. There will be the second video coming out of that soon. I've been putting around in that little thing, and it's fun. So it's kind of got me in the dirt bike mood, Seth.
Cool.
So we'll see. Like I said, I got to get the Wildcat Trail paid off first. It's not paid off yet. But once it's paid off, we'll explore different avenues.
I mean, you've rode bikes before. And you
I
used to
have.
ride a motorcycle around all the time.
Yeah, street bikes I've rode. I never had I got my motorcycle license, but I went through several periods of getting my permit, and I put around a little bit, and then it'd be like that need and would be it would be met, and then I'd be fine. So, but anyway,
I think you should get probably a 250 Enduro. I think that's
Well,
going to fit you better.
Yeah,
It would
and
be good for commuting.
I was gonna say I could use it as a commuter too.
Mhm.
So that would probably be a good introduction for me. I'd get more use out of it, and I could probably get my wife to go for it a lot easier if I had multi-purpose.
Kimmy, she'd steal that thing and take it for herself.
So, so anyway, like Dan was saying, parts availability is still not there because of COVID. Still has things, and that also has impacted the new machines coming into dealers too. Because you've said this, Dan, before that machines are built ready to go, but they are just missing some key parts that have yet to come up, and so they're just kind of sitting there, just waiting, aren't they?
Yep. There's, I know, like, let's say Cub Cadet lawn tractors, big thing, is we can't get machines for those because they can't build the parts fast enough to assemble them to put them together. Certain side-by-sides are the same way. I know, I think Articat was one of them, although I really like Articat, but anywho.
Hey, you can't deny that. What you say all the time, that little Wildcat Trail impresses you.
It does impress me.
And you got to ride that a lot.
Impress me more when the ride quality is better.
Well, yeah, that suspension travel, and that's probably not going to get much better.
I mean, we could
Walker Evans.
We could make our own long travel kit.
Well, they sell a long travel kit for that.
We could make our own.
We could make our own
kit. You got a welder down there.
And I will say that, Dan, you did not. It rode a lot better with the carnivores on there.
Oh yeah.
For our last ride, I put the stock tires back on because of the bent tie rod. I didn't get a chance to replace it before the ride, so I wanted less stress on stuff. So I threw the small tires back on, and that does make a difference. The carnivores ride a lot better.
Oh yeah.
So, and we went through some rocky stuff with that little guy.
I didn't put it in 4-wheel drive except for the beginning, so I was like, oh, it's on stock tires, it's not gonna do good. And then I took it out and forgot I took it out, and it did everything I wanted it to do. That most of everyone was doing in 4-wheel drive because they wanted to be safe,
and it was fine. It bangs bottom a lot.
That's the worst part. Put some like 2-inch rubber pad on the bottom, so when you hit something with it, it absorbs some of the impact. When you hit the tubes on the bottom, it's really a shoulder.
But hey, you made it. But parts availability, we are starting to see. Again, we're coming to get a little better now. So,
Talon 4-seater.
So yes,
I got another.
Okay, I know.
Random fact.
And this podcast, we're jumping all over the place back and forth. But again,
it's a fun one.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about COVID because we have to recognize the impact it has on it. But I don't want to dwell on it too much because it's too depressing.
Yep.
But speaking of a Talon 4-seater, Seth just last week was down in Virginia, which this works out because you were going to be able to be here to podcast with us.
No. Nope.
But while you were there, Seth, what did you get to experience?
Got to ride in a Talon 4-seater. Didn't get to do a lot of test riding in it. Didn't get to drive it, sadly. But the ride quality was really good. And the pep to it was, compared to the RMAX, that was way more.
And let's figure, it's still a sport compared to a sportier recreation.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, after riding in it, looks good. Ride's good. My dad actually rode with us. He was able to sit in the back of it, and he really enjoyed it. There's plenty of leg room. I think that was another bonus to it. It had more leg room. So that was nice.
It is longer. It is compared to the RMAX.
It is longer.
And I'm sure you probably would feel that in the woods turning and
Yes.
stuff. My question is, does the 4-seater ride better than the 2-seater? Because everyone seems to complain that the ride in the Talon 4-seater, and I don't think it matters if it's the X or the R. They both say, everyone seems to say they ride pretty awful for what they are. So I'm interested to know if the 2-seater rides better than the 4-seater. If the 4-seater with the extra length and width, you think it would probably ride better.
I don't know. I have to ride them.
So we're going to just have to get you a 2-seater.
So whoever has a Honda Talon 2-seater and a 4-seater, you can come and show us.
We'll do some testing here. And
Yes,
please.
hit
Ride
the
quality testing.
20-foot jump out back and some other stuff that we haven't built yet.
We got to hit it before we lose it. Before they come and reclaim that.
Yeah.
I just have to get new ones made.
Yeah.
But
yeah, as far as the Talon goes, it's got my approval. I loved it.
I would not be
would-
disappointed with one, I don't think.
I'd have to say, though, I would like probably to put Walker Evans all the way around it,
Something.
because still I like we were riding the one trail we were on had a ton of huge roots in it, which if you've ever ridden over like big roots, they can give you kind of a jolt too because they stick up out of the ground 3 or 4 inches more, and it's like this little thing about that wide. So, but we're going over that stuff in it. It handled it pretty well. Liked it.
Yeah, I wonder if that the main people that complain about the ride or the Talon are just Polaris and Can-Am fanboys.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Everyone
Because-
says the KRX though. It's one of the best riding buggies that you can buy.
It just seems like no matter where they come from, if they're Polaris, Can-Am guys, Honda guys, Yamaha guys, everyone says the KRX rides fantastic. So
They do.
So there probably is some merit as far as the Talon not riding the best.
So that's another thing we have to have somebody bring up. KRX.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody gotten to ride in one yet at all?
I have not rode one. I've looked at them. I don't even think I've sat in one. I've looked at some out there at Carnes when they first got them, briefly, but I never sat in it.
They're really big looking. Like if you set it next to a Polaris Razor, 1000 to 1000, the KRXs are just so big looking. It's crazy.
Is it just the looks, or is it actually noticeable? Like, or is it actually like if you were to measure it, would it be a huge difference?
I don't think the width or anything's any different. It might be a little longer, but
Is it 68 inches wide?
I thought it was 64, but they might be 68.
No, I was thinking I think it's wider. Seth,
Cool.
you gonna do a little research here? I'm thinking that the KRX is 68 inches wide.
But they're just big. Like they look high. I think they got definitely more ground clearance than a Razor 1000.
Yeah.
But,
KRX 68.1 inches.
there you go.
Told you. So they're
Overall
almost
length
69.
130.1 inches.
Which that is long too. So they are wide and long for
We'll
being a
compare-
two-seater.
We'll compare that to a Polaris.
They're also, I think, like 200 to 300 pounds more.
Hold on a
so-
second. I am scrolling my
But
phone.
the biggest complaint people have is if you put a doors, hood, or a windshield, rear panel, stereo, a roof, and a heater in it, that's adding a lot of weight. And they say that you have to add springs because then it's just not enough spring to run them.
Yeah.
So the length 119 inches.
Of the Talon. Is that the four-seater?
This is the Razor
What
SP1000.
The Razor SP1000.
So that
Still
is
don't
a
know
good
his
disorder.
name, but
306
Um,
USMC, United States Marine Corps. Welcome to the podcast. Yep, we are an hour ahead because we are here on the East Coast, so I can see how that can get confusing. That's why I always try when I list the time we are starting to put Eastern time. 1 hour is not too bad, so it'd be about 7:20. Wouldn't be about 7:20. It'd be 7:20 where he's from. But yeah, we were just talking a little bit. If you are joining us, just on the impact COVID has. We're kind of all over the place on this podcast because it's like COVID is so depressing to talk about. It's like I wanted to mention it because again, it has had an impact on everything, including the power sports industry. But it's like you're so sick of hearing it, you get so depressed talking about it. It's just like our minds are wandering quite all over the place. So this is an all over the place podcast this evening. But
So are you looking for the Talon 2-seater or 4-seater width?
well, the width of the Talon, no, it's 64
Or
inches
length.
for the X.
I meant the length, sorry.
Yeah. I had all these written down when we were looking at them a while back, but I don't remember. What is the length?
Talon 4-seater is 152 inches long and 64 inches wide.
Geez, so that's actually not a whole lot longer than the KRX.
Nope.
So
it's a 4-seater.
The KRX is a big machine.
Is
But
it?
again, that probably contributes to how nice it rides. So,
yeah, to add everything to it.
so you add everything to it. They are, we've talked about this many times, they are overpriced, I think, for what you get.
Oh, absolutely. On a plus side, not a lot of people's asked for a belt before.
Mm-mm.
Haven't heard a whole lot about that. I don't know if it's because people are just saying they don't have them as much as people that have Polarises. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of KRX people.
Mhm.
But I think in a day I'll talk to 30 to 40 Polaris owners and 2 to 3 KRX owners.
Yeah.
So
It's just Polaris is so popular. There's so many more out there. You got a lot more people.
they've been in
coming.
the game longer.
They have. I think the KRX has a similar CVT to Yamaha too, don't they? I know the Kawasaki's, the Terex and stuff, is a very similar setup with a wet clutch and the belt that has constant tension, like a Yamaha.
Did you know the Terex 4-seaters don't have rear brakes?
They have an enclosed wet brake, don't they? On the drive shaft.
Yeah.
See, I knew that. So they do have rear brakes, but it's a encased wet brake for the rear drive shaft.
Awesome, in my opinion.
It is because you don't get mud buildup on it, lower maintenance, longer life.
They're not supposed to wear out, I don't think.
No, I don't think they are either.
Unless you ride double-footed. Then who knows?
So Milton, there you're talking about the Talon 4-seater you got to experience, the airflow not being great inside. Was that a thing, Seth?
The front wasn't. I mean, I don't think I had a problem, but I didn't sit in the back either. So
I know a lot of people have complained about there's a lot of holes that just let the dust pour in on the Talons. That's one of the biggest complaints, unless you buy aftermarket blocks to block all that.
I rode right after it rained. So.
And he says there's not much storage space, but you wouldn't have had any experience with probably all the more you have.
He did have something that was awesome. You probably looked at these, I'm assuming, at one point. Milwaukee tool set that clips into the back.
Oh, the pack out systems. Yes.
And that is amazing.
Guys,
really
a lot of guys are doing that to the R-Maxes because you can fit the smaller ones perfect behind the seats, even with the tailgate closed and down the middle. So
because it comes with a plate you bolt in, and then the boxes bolt into that. And that was.
And they're made so like you can attach a box, and then the box will attach on top of another box, and so your storage possibilities are kind of endless there.
Yep.
I'll tell you though, a big conversational piece down there is a lot of people do talk about R-Maxes. They ask about R-Max. Oh, my buddy's getting an R-Max, and so forth, and they're all like, "I wonder how an R-Max is." And I'm like, "My buddy's got one."
Well, we've mentioned this at Rock Run. Every time I'm at Rock Run riding, I see at least 4 or 5 other R-Maxes there, at least. So they're popping up all over the place.
They are.
They are just they're a good machine.
They are.
We're doing awesome tonight, aren't we, guys? Wow.
Wait a second. It would be a little faster, but I guess they're a family recreational style utility vehicle.
And a tune wakes them up pretty good, which we will be doing in the future.
Do you have a question? Did you get to test out the crawl mode pretty good?
I run crawl mode a lot, especially that there's a run Rocky section Dan was talking about there, preluding to the bounciness of the machine. That's what it was that I had in crawl mode. Believe it or not, I think my R-Max spends the most time in crawl mode.
Wow.
Especially when I'm out just cruising with the family around the property here, because it makes the throttle perfect for like slow cruising.
Well, when we hit that one trail that was a left turn, right turn, left turn, up, down, left turn, right turn, right turn, right turn, left turn, left turn.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. It was in crawl.
You got a good memory.
That was exactly how it was, and then it was just rinse and repeat again and again and again.
I recorded some of it, but there was a lot of mud holes, so
yeah,
I didn't get the camera out too much. But
yeah, I mean, crawl mode is probably my favorite. Contrary to what you think performance is going to be the absolute go-to. It's a little bit too touchy. If you're straight out like racing or just ripping down a fire road, sport mode is fantastic. But for just cruising on the trails, I actually find trail mode to still be a little bit too herky-jerky. So it spends most of its time in crawl mode, believe it or believe it not.
Interesting. I wondered how that would work out for you.
Not gonna lie, Milton. I can't say that you went wrong with the X4, and I can't say that you went right with the X4. The only thing, now, I know it's a good machine, but the only thing that I noticed that's extremely different is obviously it's wider, so it's a little more sturdy, the R-Max. It has the crawl mode and everything else, but the ride quality than the X4, it did have aftermarket shocks. But if you think about it, Jason had Walker Evans on that. He has Foxes on the R-Max, which were supposedly competing shocks. I still think the X4 rode better.
I agree.
And I agree too. And I have not really fought, but somewhat argued with people online about this, that the X4 with the Walker Evans rode better than the R-Max on the Fox.
And comfort-wise, I can't say there's a whole lot more room in the R-Max in the back seat. The front seat, you can tell it's a little more roomy, but the back I don't think is much more roomy at all.
There's a little bit more foot space and a little bit more room to get in. The door opening is a little bit bigger. But as far as the seats and stuff, they are pretty much identical to the X4. So the comfort level isn't a whole lot better. There is, like Dan said, a little more wiggle room, but that center console is so massive in the R-Max that it still feels pretty tight. It feels comfy once you're in there. But
at least, I don't know about you guys, but I grew to really, really like the X4. Because I got to drive quite a bit on a couple of different rides we did. We did go to a couple of places. I don't remember where they were. But having passengers in that was awesome. It was a couple girls, so of course they're smaller, so I'm sure it wasn't bad for them, for the other room. But
Mhm.
they loved it because it was so quiet. We could have a conversation the whole time we were riding.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome.
The RMAX is loud. It's hard when you're humping on the RMAX. It's hard to talk and have a conversation because it's louder. But yeah, the X4 that 850 with what I had done with the clutch work, the tune, which I never got to do a video with because I didn't have the X4 long enough to actually do a video or performance testing with it before I drowned it. It was snappy, and riding on the trails.
It was fun because it was definitely skinnier,
Mhm.
and you can whip it.
You could
around the trails more.
You could.
And I noticed that when we were going to the left, right, up, down, left, right, mud puddle.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that with that, you had to really kind of slow down because some of the turns, they were banked, but there wasn't much room to kick it out with the bigger
You could
machine.
tell that the RMAX was bigger, and it took more to get it to turn. Where the X4, if you're looking for a trail buggy to do stuff like tight ripping and ripping pretty hard, I would contest that the X4 would be the better than the RMAX just because of the size and the nimbleness of the X4. Now, Milton there said about he would like to have more ground clearance, and there's no arguing the RMAX has a ton more ground clearance than the X4 did, especially on stock tires.
But it's got what, 29s?
It's got 29-inch tires.
And your X4 had 26s.
26s by the number. Maybe
they fit 28s with no lifter.
Yeah, they were. I think that, but I think when I swapped the tires, I measured, and the supposed 26s were actually almost under 25 inches. So I mean, they're small. So,
you gained what, 2 inches?
Oh, I did all the measurements on the video where I put the carnivores on. So, but I gained quite a bit.
For what you paid for your machine, Milton, if you do what Jason did to his, it'll compete head to head with the RMAX. I mean,
I would say it was worth it because I remember when he did it, and then later on let us drive it. Like it was a pretty noticeable difference. And
did you guys ever drive it after I put the tune on it?
Not the tune, but the sheaves and the tip. Yeah. And because you put the tune on it, and then that one after you swamped it, like
it wasn't long after that because that was right before winter, and then winter with the ice is when I swamped it. But do I regret selling it for the RMAX? Not really.
I mean,
would I still be happy with the X4? Like I've said in videos, yeah, I'd be perfectly fine with it. Yeah.
He didn't lose enough. Now, if his X4 was completely stock, he would have gained a lot, but he had stuff done to it. So he didn't gain a lot, but he didn't lose anything.
Yeah. So,
yep, I agree.
Cool. And of course, yes, we all know the P500 rules all anyway. One machine to rule them all.
Oh, he did ask if it'll hurt the transmission. I do believe you were talking about the crawl mode. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it won't hurt the transmission. I'm in crawl mode high gear. A lot of times it won't hurt. Again, it's Yamaha CVT, the best CVT in the industry. So unless you're under 5 miles an hour, it's not going to hurt to be in crawl mode, running all the time, whether you're humping on it or not. Pretty much all crawl mode does is limit how quick the input from the throttle pedal, the gas pedal, gets to the engine. That's basically what it's doing. So it takes out all the bouncing that you do, and it's
pretty noticeable.
It is noticeable, and it is super nice and rocky terrain. So
it is, and it was even nice on that short course. I'm going to call it a short course because I mean, that was some rally driving stuff going through that secondary trail that was left, right.
Oh yeah, we were hopping on there sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, he left it in crawl mode in that. I mean, you can tell it was a little slaggy.
It just takes a pedal to get it up and going.
It was still a lot of turning right and left, and it was still kind of bumpy with all the mud holes and stuff. And he took it out. You put it in sport mode for a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And you could tell a huge difference. And you still couldn't get it to kick out anymore.
All you really noticed was the jerky in and out of the throttle. And so I put it back in the crawl mode. And again, crawl mode still has full power. You just have to push it farther to get it. That's it. So, yes. I really don't want to talk more about COVID, guys. We talked enough. We mentioned the highlights. We had for you just joining us. These were the things we pointed out. We had the boom in sales because of quarantine. Everyone went out and bought machines with the stimulus checks and stuff. Enjoyed them, but then now we're suffering for lack of parts, lack of machines at dealerships. Though I have seen, I know Miller's Powersports, where I bought both my X4 and RMAX finally got 3 trucks of machines, so they're fully stocked now. They got several Razors, Rangers, several R-Maxes. So if you're anywhere near Lamont Furnace, PA, and are looking for a new machine, especially a new R-Max, Miller's has some in stock right now. Don't know how long they'll last. So we are seeing a inventory. I mean, Carnes has. I saw a couple Wildcat XXs. They have any KRXs now?
They had 2 the beginning of the week that were just put out, and I do believe one of them had just went off the lot today. I don't know if there's another one out there or not. But we got 2 of them and whatnot. They're selling fast.
They are selling fast.
I know Polaris right now. They're, how do I say it? They used to be the most expensive in the game, but they're becoming one of the cheaper ones in the game now. So they're selling faster than like the KRXs. They're 22 grand, probably like 23 to 24 out the door cost. And then all your accessories, all for 111 horsepower and a huge machine. And you can buy this Polaris Razor XP 1000 for $18,900, like maybe $19,500 out the door. So you're looking at a few grand less even in accessories. KRX, Kawasaki accessories are really expensive, by the way. Everyone says Polaris is expensive. Kawasaki has the most expensive on some of their accessory lines, and then Polaris still hasn't beaten certain other things. But you're looking at like 3 months on back order on most Razors. The Rangers are maybe like a couple weeks, but they're getting better. When I first started, they were 3 to 4 months out. I think most of the machines now are getting down to a month being out or a month and a half.
So here's a question Milton asked, and it kind of plays into this. You working at a parts dealer, are you able to get parts faster going through like a dealer OEM parts than if you were to go aftermarket? How's the availability there?
I would want to say depends on the part, because there's still a good bit of stuff that Polaris has on stock, but the really common stuff doesn't go fast. And I've learned to realize the reason OEM stuff sells so fast is because it fits like an absolute glove. Nothing aftermarket fits as good as something OEM. That is, I never understood why things cost so much more money OEM, but now after working there, you can see the difference in how they line up, how they bolt in. These machines are designed for it. Aftermarket stuff, you have extra work and stuff, so there's less demand for aftermarkets when it comes to buying a new buggy. So a lot of the aftermarket companies are still pretty easy to get stuff through.
Yeah.
Like I know Super ATV we're a dealer for, and we can have stuff in a couple days. Most of their stuff is available, and if it's not available, then you just can't order it, and they won't let you.
Yeah. So we'll probably be dealing with the lack of parts and stuff for a while, but it is nice to see machines finally getting to the dealers. I am still waiting on my 520 from Honda yet.
Forever.
But
come on, Honda.
I'm not going to complain. I am super excited to be getting a demo for a while. So whenever it gets here, it gets here. I'm still not seeing a whole lot of booms and people being able to find them anyway to buy them. So
I don't think I've seen much at all on the 520.
I haven't seen
Have you
much
seen any on the trails?
on YouTube. I have yet to see one in person around here anywhere.
You know, I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen a whole lot of anything on any new machines.
No.
I know it's about that time that people are going to be starting to get their hands on some 2022 stuff, and that hasn't even been released.
It may be one of these things where majority of manufacturers are going to skip 2021 and just go straight to 2022s. Who knows?
I do know Kawasaki did a shutdown. Like they did a restart or something like that, so no one can order stuff through them. So they shut it down, fulfilled all the orders that they had, and then what orders were placed that they couldn't fill basically were lost. And if you want anything, you have to restart fresh. And it basically like they started a whole new company. They just did a whole new restart because of the effect that everything has had. They restarted their whole entire system, supposedly, is what I was told. Don't know how true it is, but you can kind of see it because we ain't getting no new dirt bikes. We have no I mean, we were getting dirt bikes left and right. We were getting some motorcycles here and there. And then we heard about that, and they ordered a bunch, and they're almost all gone. And we haven't got any more. So, I mean, it's crazy.
Hey, you're getting Oh, there you go.
6
Oh,
months
he's
to
got a
get it.
520.
He's got a 520.
You wanna
6
come
months.
on down?
Still, it took him 6 months. 6 months to get it. And I know some guys on the RMAX forums have said Yamaha's actually canceled their order, and I think that's probably happened across
Milton, we have shipped stuff to people. Depends on the size of it. I know when you get into the bigger objects, then it gets kind of expensive to ship stuff through UPS and FedEx. No offense, Seth. But
I don't care.
You need just a
UPS
truck loader.
is really expensive to ship stuff through, especially when it's big. FedEx is definitely cheaper, but still expensive.
What's up, Josiah? Finally joining in.
What's up?
We're only 40 minutes into this, Josiah.
What up, Joe
Hey,
Schmo?
glad to have you. Glad you can join in. We're pretty much just talking all over the place here tonight, so feel free to comment on anything. If you want to continue your conversation on pedal bikes from last one, go right ahead. We don't care. Just don't Google stuff, or we're gonna find you out.
We have 10 viewers, and only 2 to 3 people are saying something.
Mm-hmm.
Some more input from the rest of
I
you
know
would
our
be
conversation in this
greatly
podcast
appreciated.
is not that enveloping, that is holding your attention that well, because again, we are all over the place
Who we
tonight.
kidding? They're probably just sleeping.
Well, hey, it's getting me views. I appreciate the support regardless. So, and there's that lull. Ran out of stuff to talk about already.
We need something to talk about. Give us something good.
Could probably say that's somewhat true, but I don't know. I haven't really had a lot of machines come back. There's just a couple knick-knack things here and there that come back.
Now, see, Dan, for the podcast, you need to make sure to read his comments. So if I include it in the podcast, people's not just thinking you're talking randomly.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Seth, you read them, I'll answer them.
Am I supposed to read all?
No. Just the last one, Milton.
I have a CRF 250F on order. Guy said next year.
That wasn't the one he was answering, but that one came.
Back to the next one.
Milton said,
I heard that it's probably a good thing to steer away from 2021 stuff because a lot of it is thrown together caused because of COVID.
I don't know. It all depends. I have more old stuff coming back than new stuff right now. I mean, the techs are the ones that put it together. So, I mean, most of everything comes assembled, but the roll cage, the tires, the wheels, all that stuff, I mean, yeah, you got to put most of it on depending on the brand of the machine. They service them before they send them out new. So as soon as they ship them, they put oil and stuff in them and do all that other good stuff. And they check everything, they torque everything. So it all depends on who you get it from. I'd say that probably is where the issues are coming from. Some of it probably is due to cheap parts that are thrown together, depending on the parts. So I can agree with some of that.
By the way, George, glad to hear somebody's getting a dirt bike.
Mhm.
Sorry to hear it's going to take a year.
Is it the street legal version? Is it CRF 250 FL? Do they make the FL, or is it just the Force 50?
Beats
I
me.
don't know.
Don't know.
So, Dan, do you think there could be disgruntled employees sabotaging machines on purpose for being laid off for extended periods of time? That just kind of popped into my head.
I mean, I doubt
Probably
it.
not. Probably not. I'm probably just being paranoid.
No, I'd say you're being fair.
But
I don't know.
But it could be, if you have several shifts working and you're shutting down and then restarting and shutting, you could lose track of where you have been. So that could contribute to some of the.
That's where your
problems that could
factory
happen,
warranty
too.
would come into play there.
Yes.
We got like 4 or 5 mechanics, and they've been working through this whole thing. As far as I know, since I've been there, no one's taken off because of COVID or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all just working strong and steady. And we had at one point, I do believe, 50 used machines to get fixed, last month. So that's a lot. 90% of it is over stupidity and insurance quotes and stuff like that. I've seen some pretty insane things. Why in the world would you buy a $29,000 buggy and just go out in 2 weeks and completely demolish it and then buy a new one because your insurance paid for it all? It's beyond me. But hey, if your insurance is paying for it, you might as well go ahead and total that thing and get a new one every 2 weeks.
Why would you buy a $21,000 4-seater and then last week promptly go out and swamp it in
And
some
almost
really,
do the
really
same
sticky mud
thing that
And
you
you
did with the
have-
X4.
and get yelled at by your wife for
You
trying
have
to destroy
insurance
another
on it?
machine? I do,
You should
but that
just-
does not give me an
Thank
excuse to go out there and absolutely.
You should
I had
to
fun,
a store and
I had
just like
and we
I
came
got a
out.
scratch.
We came
Can you
out
fix it?
unscathed and good shape. Video coming soon. It's going to be a good one, at least an enjoyable one.
Oh, man.
It'd be a funny one too, because it was
Almost
kinda
brings a tear to your eyes, though.
Yeah.
Thinking back to the X4. Did you have flashbacks?
fun. I did.
Worse.
When that first water hole, as soon as that it shut off and stalled.
I think it was the first thing you said too, wasn't it?
It was. I was like, oh no, I hope I didn't lose that plug again. But the exhaust was underwater, so that was the only reason. And I did splash and get water in my CVT housing because of that exhaust being the exact same as it is in the X4. So that guy is getting snorkeled ASAP.
Which is kind of pointless. Like, you have an issue. You know it's there. Why not fix it?
Okay, here's the reason why Yamaha does this. I know why they do it. They direct the CVT exhaust to blow over the engine now and the exhaust, so it carries the heat out the bottom and away so it doesn't soak up through and get into the cab, because people forget that they just bought an off-road vehicle, so they complain about all the squeaks, the rattles, and the heat, even though it's not an on-road machine, it's an off-road vehicle, and it's made as such.
Also part of the reason why they're getting so expensive is because they're trying to make them more like an on-road style vehicle.
I'm not going to get off a tangent here on a rant, but that's one of my pet peeves all the time is people buy these off-road machines, then complain because they're not as nice as a luxury car. And I get where they're coming from, because you do spend a lot of money on these machines. But again,
they're spending that money because
it's an off-road vehicle. So
same thing with the dirt.
with that becomes the certain characteristics of an off-road vehicle. It's going to be loud. It's going to be hot. It's going to be noisy.
And the way I look at it,
that's part of the sport. Man up and get over it and just ride.
The way I look at it,
keep on riding.
People's front door squeaks all the time. Do they replace it because it squeaks? No. They just look at it and be like, I hate you. They keep on with their life. They ought to just do the same thing with their bike and be like, it squeaks. I hate you, but I'm still going to beat the snot out of you every weekend and they complain about it. But hey, Orange is right.
Well, that got dark real quick there, didn't it? Milton.
Question. I'm supposed to read it. Let me
read that one Milton asked there about.
So now that you mention that, should I run mine up the frame like a snorkel?
With my X4, I was going to do that. That was my intention, was to take that CVT exhaust, run it up across the roof, and actually cut a hole in the back of my roof for an exit. However, the more I thought about it, the more I think, and this is what I'm going to do with the R-backs, is I'm basically going to run up through the cup holder in a U and then back down, so I can still have it blow that heat from the exhaust and stuff away from the machine underneath and not come up. But having that big old U will allow me to go in a lot deeper water. So I think that, and I think if you guys are familiar with Mud Puppy and the Mud Puppy YouTube channel, when he had an X4 for a brief moment, that's how he did his. It seemed to work really well. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Just bring it up, make a U, back down. So it keeps it from getting splashed in, because it gives you that lot more play, but it'll still direct the CVT air to blow across stuff, so it keeps the heat from coming up. So that's what I'm going to do with my R-Max, is do that. Try to do it in a way that it doesn't take away from my little Kyla Rue's foot room, because we have her car seat there in the middle of the seats, and that's kind of where she puts her feet. They're up there in the cup holders. So that might be a problem I have to deal with, but I'll think of something. But I definitely need to get that done ASAP.
What does it stand for?
I mean,
what?
ASAP.
As soon as possible. At least before I go through another big mud hole.
I was kind of hoping you'd come up with something clever there, but
I did not. No, not on the spot like that. Not when we're live, Seth. Now, give me a minute or two. Absolutely stupid.
As predicted.
As predicted, yes. Because I don't have it snorkeled yet, and I went in that deep mud hole. So
I was trying to look up, because I found some snorkels for Kawasaki. I was trying to look up.
I don't think anyone
what
makes it
the
for
dealer was
for an R-Max.
No, I just can't seem to. Oh wait.
And I need to get the Wildcat snorkel too, both the air intake and the CVT intake, because it's kind of like bum level. Dan had to go around all the mud holes because I wouldn't let him go through with the intake being where it is on that.
Now, Jason, I have to say, that was smart of you.
It was. And after being in them, Dan would have totally drowned the Wildcat had he gone through some of them holes. So I was a little worried for Justin in the Turbo Wildcat Sport. He was with us again for this ride, and he was going through some deep water and stuff with his, and it's still in the same spot. But anyway.
What year, Milton, is your buggy? I can't remember. What year was yours?
How quick can you answer?
My Explorer was a 2018.
Let's do 2019. I'm just curious to see what they make. Oh,
pretty much.
No.
There were suspension changes made from 20 and up, but I think as far as intake and all that, it was unchanged from the beginning, and I think it's still unchanged for the most part. 2021 is what Milton says.
Highlifter has a whole lot of nothing.
No, I don't think there are any available snorkel kits made for the X4 or the RMAX at the moment.
I just know for a 2014 that I looked up earlier, and they had a really, because reason I'm mentioning this because it's a 4-seater Terex. It's basically the same design, same setups as the Wolverine. They're mid-engines, and they had a system that come off the back of the motor, come back the tunnel. Obviously, they have a different style tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Yours is a high-rise tunnel.
Yeah.
But theirs come back the tunnel, and it comes up through the middle of the back of the seats, like right up the center, and it come out the back. It was a really cool setup and clean looking, and you would never notice that it was in the way.
Well, see, and that's what my thought was with the X4 is to take it up along the roof and then actually cut a hole in the back of my roof where it came down, run it out there so it completely exited the vehicle, and then put an elbow or something on there, which would have looked clean. It would have kept all the noise away, but then I would have lost that blowing over the heat out, which I do want to keep, especially being that it's mostly a family hauler and I only play in the mud with it a little bit from time to time.
All right. I mean,
once we get Mighty Mouse up and running 100%, she's going back into the mud again with the turbo.
That's exciting.
So I don't know if I mentioned this. I don't think. But I did finally break down, and I'm done with these cheap Amazon turbos, and I have the good $700 turbo here getting ready to, well, it's not here. I gave it to Greg. I have to make new exhaust flanges for it so I can hold it on.
You get done buying
I know, and I can tell just from looking at the two side by side that this turbo is going to last. That my problem all along has been these cheap turbos.
That's what
There
happens.
is just a huge difference in quality, and the impellers and stuff on the name brand RHB 31 is bigger, it's beefier, and it's going to be much better.
It's a famous saying, eBay turbo.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what you get what you pay for.
They served their purpose. They served their purpose. It was
in testing.
They proved the proof of concept that 500 liked the boost well enough to pursue, and so now we're taking the next step and we're going to dial it in. So
Cool, thanks, man.
And if you guys, I don't know if you have seen on the old Facebook, the guys from Stuntman Performance Engineering that are supercharging, they have had excellent results so far. They're running 12 PSI on a P5 right now with their supercharger kit and are more than doubling the rear wheel horsepower. Now, that sounds like a lot when I say more than doubling. It's still only 37 horsepower. But for the 500, that is more than double rear wheel horsepower from stock. So that is very impressive. So I'm really excited to get my turbo dialed in because it should get just as good results. So and the difference is the turbo won't be as quick to light as the supercharger. Supercharger is pretty much instant, but my turbo is small enough that you really can't. Yeah, you can't really notice much lag, if any at all. So that's a bonus too.
It's pretty impressive.
So I wish
5 minutes.
they're out of Florida. I really wish they were closer. And even the one guy I messaged with and talked to back and forth. We talk a lot. We've discussed things when they decided to start supercharging. Wish that I was closer to Florida so I could actually go down and turbo or dyno my turbo to see what it has. But that's a long jaunt just to run a turbo. That would be neat to do is to dyno.
I mean, those ones building the kit, they should come up here.
Well, yeah, but I don't think they could bring the whole dyno up here, Dan.
Oh, there's local dynos all over the place up here.
Not what's the closest one to us though?
There's one in Cookport.
I may have to reach out because that would be very well, and just not only to see what it makes, but to be able to actually dyno tune instead of just adjusting stuff, kind of guesswork through my computer. Going by pretty much, I'm just going by air fuel ratio, which I can only pull the data after I've gone for a drive to be able to do it live while it runs by people that actually know more what they're doing than I do. That'd be really cool.
It'd be awesome.
So you'll have to
Seth, you got some questions?
find out here.
Uh-oh. Where we're at?
Yeah, Edmund.
Camping trail ride. Oh, I'm supposed to read this. My bad. Are you guys still debating the camping trail ride?
Does that go on by what we talked about in our essentials to take with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we did talk about trying to camp out trail ride one time.
I think we do need
The trick we have.
should try it.
The trick we have right now is finding a place to actually do it that
I
allows.
think Snowshoe does, don't
They may. I'll have to talk to Justin with the Wildcat Turbo about this because he rides the Snowshoe. Is it Beach Creek trails out there all the time. They just extended too, didn't they? And added more trails or connected trails. We were just talking about this, right?
40-something miles, but there's so many different, because a lot of people, even though it's posted, will say, oh yeah, there's tons of riding. But then if you go somewhere and it's posted and you don't have permission, we're the kind of people that don't usually go on that property. So for us, it's like, oh yeah, we don't have any riding here. So let's go home.
Yeah, and it's like building local shops to do it. We don't really have any real local shops that do any kind of dyno testing or setup for that around here, because we live way out in the sticks, the hills, the Appalachian Mountains. But Dan, if you know some places there, you said, I'm gonna have to reach out, see if I can find someone with a dyno that we can dyno test and tune the P5.
There was a couple other ones, and I can't remember where I heard it, because I was looking for a dyno to dyno my truck before
I know there's one in Ohio, and I think that's the one Side by Side Blogs actually use, is that guy, and he's in Ohio.
I know they drive quite a ways.
Yeah, it's because I'm thinking I'm pretty sure it's in Ohio, and I can't think of what the name of that is. What company is it? Anyway, I don't know.
I still think we should get a trip together.
I think that'd be fun to do, an overnighter somewhere.
Because even just the Hatfield, that was, I mean, that wasn't like camping as we were.
Well, no, because they don't allow night ride. They do on the, I'm sure probably on the outlaw trails. I'll have to check down there the Spearhead trails if they allow night riding. I'm not sure if they do or not.
Can our local shops do what, Milton?
Can our local shops do it?
The dyno. That's what he's asking. Can your local shops do it? I'm sure dyno does.
Oh.
That's what I was just talking about, Dan. You zoned out here or what? Seth's third snack. He's hungry.
I heard food.
Kids are outside talking. We got our windows open so we can hear them. But all right, guys. Anything else for tonight? Do a little Q&A, whatever.
I don't know what that is, but
I can muster up a question for you guys.
I don't know. That's probably just trollers just commenting on a live to be noticed. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Missed Outfire. Hello. I do not know you, but I ye good.
Are ye? Haven't you ever seen Mrs. Doubtfire before?
I don't think so.
Robin Williams?
Hello!
I ain't got a clue. I completely lost. Anywho.
This
is what we've resolved to.
Yeah.
In our power sports.
And our power sports conversation is going way off course here. But that's live. That's live streaming for you. You just got to roll with whatever you're given, right? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
boy.
Uh-huh.
Oh my. Well, anywho, so Milton,
you're just going to hide that. Anyway, come up to Idaho and do some backcountry camping of thousands of miles of trails. Now, see, that would be fun. So,
yep,
that would involve a lot of time off of work, though. See, if I got to the point where I could do Appalachian Mountain Riders full time, we could do all kinds of stuff like this.
Who was it?
Yeah,
down in Virginia, the guy there that had the Talon 4-seater. I don't remember where he said it was. He told me to look it up, and I forgot. But he was on a guided trail expedition, whatever you want to call it, adventure. I think it was like a 2-week thing total of where they went riding and camping every night. But I think it was like 2 weeks total where they went. And I can't remember how many miles. I think it might have been over 1,000 miles. I don't remember. No, maybe it wasn't. But either way, like I never even heard of the guided rides that you can go on for 2 weeks. I didn't realize.
Oh wow, that'd be fun.
Yeah. I can't even necessarily say, like, if we went on a camp out ride thing, I wouldn't necessarily say it's put on as many miles as we could. It wouldn't be a bad thing to ride. Find a nice spot in the woods, maybe spend a half a day just chilling, relaxing in the middle of the woods, and then get backing up, sleeping for the night.
Because for us, fun trail riding is not to go out and just be like, put as many trails as we can. Like, we're out to see what kind of cool trails we can find and how fast we can rip on them.
Yeah.
Can we find good mud bogs? Can we find hill climbs? We like to go out and like
scenery.
Find something where we can really enjoy it.
We like to watch the scenery.
And we're not ones that go and drive for 5 minutes and then stop and talk for an hour. When we ride, we ride. We pretty much ride nonstop.
Well, when we went riding over at Rock Run, whatchamacallit day that was, we rode until 12 o'clock, ate lunch, and went back to riding until 5 o'clock, and then got stuck.
Hello, Katie. Thank you for joining us.
German.
From Germany.
Cool.
Yeah, we're reaching. Sometimes you forget live streaming that this can be worldwide on YouTube.
Do forget that.
We do forget that.
Bitte. I think that's thank you in German. Bitte.
Oh,
I
heard
Bitte.
Germany.
I think that's right, but bitte. Thank you.
I heard Germany's a lot like Pennsylvania,
as far as country-wise,
but I think they would be really cool to trail ride on some of the trails out there.
it would be, I think, awesome to go to different countries.
I like mountainous terrain because out there at Hatfield, I love the hills. I absolutely loved it. You get up on top of the hill and just be able to look out down through the valley.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty neat. I like to get into more stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where was that at?
At Hatfield.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Because everywhere we went, as soon as we get to the top of the trail, you could just look down through the valley. You can see down on the trails you were on and just looking down forever.
I know Kentucky's got a lot of nice little parks down there too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there goes that one too.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho,
we're getting a lot of trolls in the comments here tonight, so that's probably a sign we should wrap this live stream up. I do want one more bit of information for you guys. In September, I am going to Spearhead Trails to Ride, and I'm going to open that up as a meet and greet ride. It's going to be no official event, but we'll be there riding. So,
I've never seen a right hand drive. I've never seen a right hand driving TV. So
I think we should end this.
Yeah.
We're gonna end it, guys. I hate to do this. We got the trolls on here writing impolite comments, so we're going to end this. But again, that's YouTube life. So, guys, thanks for joining in. Again, this podcast was kind of all over the place, but we enjoyed it. We enjoyed talking to you guys. We will make sure to post next month's topic well in advance so you guys have some idea on what we're going to talk about, and you guys can join in and be prepared too. So, any final remarks from you guys? Our famous thing.
our famous thing.
Our famous thing.
The famous thing.
3.
One,
Wait, you're counting up. I'm counting down.
2.
1, 2, 3.
Keep on riding.
Woo! We got it that time. Finally.
Oh my.
Please end it.
I am ending.